So 007,
If you're wondering,
James Bond.
channeling Roger Moore for The Walk. Huh? So, what are we
Amazon.
talking about? James Bond, of course. Fans
UK
of
25.
films now questioning what the future holds for 007 because after more than 60 years, the Broccoli family, who produced all the movies so far, are handing over creative control of the franchise to Amazon. So let's look back a little bit. The very first Bond film released in 1962, Dr. No. It started it all off, Sean Connery taking the leading role. Since then, there have been 5 more actors who've taken on the iconic character. George Lazenby, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig, all stepping into his shoes. There have been 25 James Bond films in total.
Wow.
Maths, they grossed a collective box office figure of more than £5.5 billion.
Blimey.
The franchise's biggest financial success came with the most recent Bond actor, Daniel Craig. But of course, he said farewell to the role in the most recent installment, No Time to Die. So, the question everyone's asking
no time to die.
is, what's next for Britain's most famous secret agent? Will Amazon make more movies? What will that do to the quality of the films? And of course, the big question, who will become the next James Bond?
Nobody does it better than the Broccolis when it comes to safeguarding the quality and class of this franchise. Now, if new bosses Amazon mess that up, then Jeff Bezos could reinvent himself as the ultimate Bond villain. That is the genuine fear of fans like me. I think they'll mess it up.
So
there you
we're
go,
joined
guys.
now by AJ Chowdhury from the James Bond International Fan Club. Very good morning to you, AJ. And film critic Ali Plum is joining us as well. Good morning to you. So AJ, let's start with your thoughts. I mean, I don't know, there have been a lot of talk about changes afoot, haven't there? Are you worried about the brand looking
not
forward?
unduly
Times the
worried.
bottom.
I think Michael
Date today,
Wilson and Barbara
20
Broccoli, with their
1st of
heirs of
February,
the late Barbara Broccoli,
25.
who incepted the Bond film series
Friday
with Harry
morning.
Saltzman, are like our Alex Ferguson. They're the manager of our football team, and James Bond has done it incredibly well. Michael and Barbara have a shelf load full of trophies and cups. I think the time has come. They felt that they've achieved a lot. Daniel Craig's last series of films were the most critically successful and commercially in history. Nearly 7 decades in, it's unprecedented.
So AJ, my question in a way was, for those people who always thought of the Broccoli family of kind of nurturing, loving the product, the brand, to hand it over to Amazon, this giant, there are people who are just going, is there a risk here to the brand?
I'm a half glass full person. I think the Broccoli's know what they're doing.
It's
They're
been
the
going for a long
bishop of
time,
the
James
faith.
Bond has.
I also think we're modern times, things have changed. Cinema has changed, the exhibition, the whole way of watching, consuming movies has changed. I think Bond had to move on at some point. There's going to be more Bond. We've waited a long time. I think people should have a bit of faith. The possibilities are endless from the new Ian
Do you
Fleming
not
book.
think it could move on under the Broccolis?
It probably could have done, but Michael Wilson's in his early 80s, Barbara Broccoli's 64. They're doing a plethora of other things, stage plays, musicals, other TV. Yes, it's a big surprise, no doubt, and it's probable there's been some altercation exactly with, the bespoke tailor-made Bond films and the producers and the mass-produced Amazon. I think that would be silly not to acknowledge. But let's hope that the future of Bond is bright. We've waited a long time.
Let's pick up on that potential rift then. Ali, can you shed any light onto this? Because lots of people will be
Put a thumbs up on the
thinking,
right side of the screen, please.
like me, for example, a massive Bond fan, don't want the essence of Bond to go. But, commercialisation happens, big companies want involved, streaming's the way forward. What's happening here?
The answer is we don't really know. We've had barely any news from the Bond camp for quite some time. It's, how many years now? 4 years since No Time to Die. We shouldn't conjecture about what's going on inside those inner circles because it's a very private situation. I think that's part of the reason why these movies have been so beloved for so long. They have this air of mystique. And honestly, I do not know. But it's easy to wonder, isn't it? Because you and I think, AJ, we're both massive Bond fans, have been daydreaming about a potential Q TV show maybe, or the Charlie Higson Young Bond novels. Could they be a potential thing that we could see on the small or big screen? And now it seems that might actually properly happen. I cannot speak to any potential rifts. but it is something that I'm personally, as a Bond fan, still processing. I haven't come to terms with this news. I don't want to say seismic because it seems to sort of overcook it, but it does feel very important.
Does it feel important just in terms of who the next Bond is? Because there's been so much speculation, hasn't there? And it's just been ignored.
Yeah,
ignored in
like the
terms
guy
of
that plays
Broccoli.
Superman.
They just
I love
won't
Superman.
acknowledge
He's
it.
going to get a job in
Wouldn't
it.
acknowledge it up to now, and we perhaps understand now why. But does it change the brand of Bond?
Well, in terms of who might be the next Bond, I've got to tell you, there are two questions I get asked all the time. One is, what's worth watching right now? And the second one is, who's going to be the next Bond? It's a national, international obsession. I think the idea is often, to me, who could it be? Probably someone we don't know, a name that you wouldn't recognize if I mentioned him out loud. It's all sort of clouded in mystery. I, like AJ, want to believe in glass half full, but I'm still reeling a little bit that this has finally happened. I want to have an answer for you. I want to say names like Harris Dickinson or Leo Woodall and say, yes, it's going to be them. But it's all up in the air.
Yeah.
I await new news. This is just the beginning of a series of new articles, I believe, where we'll find out more. Who will be the next producer? Who will be the next director? Who will be the next screenwriters? This is all
It's
to
kind
be
of got a
unveiled.
few more years to go,
Lots-
probably
lots of
2 years,
unknowns
I'm afraid to say.
AJ, when you've got someone like Amazon, this is a business. I mean, this is a business. They will come in with a plan. It's not like they'll have gone, bought it, well, what are we going to do now? Presumably, well, tell me your thoughts. Do you think they'll know, let's get a movie out in 2 years, or realistically, I don't know what that is. Do we know who it is already? Do you think they've got it all laid out in advance?
I think they will have by the time we get a new Bond film. I agree with everything Ali said. He knows his stuff. I think there's a bunch of unknowns, but the unknown unknowables. I think the key thing is that will be ironed down pretty quickly. The Bond series was bought for 8.45 billion. The Broccoli's just paying per 10 extra billion. There's too much at stake. Bond is a huge brand. You don't mess with it either. We've got nearly 7 decades of unprecedented commercial and critical success. You don't turn a Coke can blue.
I think both of you have missed the obvious choice when it comes to the next Bond. Did you
James
not
Bond.
just see what happened
James
here
Bond.
in the studio?
I did see. I've had a word with Charlie's agent. I'm on 10%.
Excellent. Ali? Why are you laughing, Ali? What's funny, Ali?
I just remembered a very funny joke.
Go on.
But I can't say it on air because it's far too blue, like
Okay.
a Coke can.
You'll have to
I'll
message it.
tell you a great joke. How many Bond fans does it take to change a light bulb? One, but tend to complain how much better the original was. It's fandom in general. You know, we're never satisfied. Look, I've just written a 400-page book on Bond cars called Spy Octane. That book is a history of automotive films and everything like that. Sorry?
Best
was the
car.
best one?
I think the Lotus Esprit was the best car. But
It
you
was
have
the
to
one that
Martin
went
Figure
underwater.
The one that went underwater. My point being, apart from a shameless plug, it's that Bond is such a broad church. We could write books on the travel, on the drinks, on the technology,
Yeah,
on the
absolutely.
geopolitical history, on attitudes towards women.
Okay.
Bond is so broad. And
I'm
it
going to
withstands...
have to bring Ali. Best car, Ali? Which one?
Oh, Aston Martin. We all remember that moment. Indeed, Abby, please, Skyfall. The whole cinema just lit up. That was my moment. And let's all remember that and all the hard work that the Broccolis and Michael have done over the past decades upon decades. I know this is the end of an era, but I also sort of just want to celebrate them a bit. And please speak to me maybe 3 or 4 days when I'll have, I don't know, better sentences in response to your questions.
It's all
There
good.
you go.
Ali, thank you so much. Ali Plum there. And AJ Chowdhury as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Well, there you go.
Morning.
Please scratch on San Jones. What the force be with you always. Press what the need so many. We need to watch video. Please scratch on San Jones.